information that was helpful to the authorities regarding him and some of his murders. And, he killed his first wife, Kathy Durst. And so I talked to some of the family members, and they're still very, very bitter that Westchester County, New York, has never bothered to prosecute him. One prosecutor after the other, because the family's worth billions of dollars, they just ignore what a serial killer's doing. And I'm not going to say much more than that without putting a target on my back. But one prosecutor after the other did nothing about it. And the last one, finally, I guess she had him indicted before a grand jury. And then he died a few months later of COVID in jail or prison in California, which is just a few months ago. So these poor people have had no justice for 40 years. And it's just disgraceful. But a lot more is going to come out about that as well, because there's a lot of cover up and enabling by his wife and by the Durst family and his brother Douglas. So a lot more is about to come out with that.
Wow. So you're still kind of staying on top of the whole thing with the family.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And Mary's a forensic accountant and fraud examiner, and she's done a lot of history into finances and financial crimes regarding a lot of these people. And she was able to discover like inappropriate movement of funds out to California. I'm not going to say by who exactly, right when the trial was going on, and read between the lines. So we're getting ready that and some other illegal things that Ghislaine Maxwell was involved with. She's dug into that, and we're going to present that to the U.S. Attorney's Office in New York, hopefully before the sentencing.
Wow, wow, wow. So that is so awesome. So now your opinion, whatever you can share on Ghislaine Maxwell, do you think that we've heard the end of the whole thing, or is there going to still be more stuff that keeps coming out?
I think they're going to, she's going to cut a deal at the very end. She held out to the bitter end. I think the time she wanted Jeffrey Epstein dead, she said she wanted that done because Jeffrey Epstein is going to be the death of her. Well, he's dead now, but she has dirt and videos galore on so many other people that she can make a deal, witness protection, that let her live in New Zealand or somewhere. But wherever she decides to live, she's highly identifiable. I don't think she'll survive. I think she'll cooperate. She'll get out. It'll take a year or two. Somebody, unfortunately, will probably kill her.
Wow.
She's got stuff. Some of the things I saw at the Palm Beach house, I can't even go into them here without getting you deplatformed from YouTube. So that's
yes.
It's in my book.
I'm not trying to mess up my relationship with YouTube. I'm just starting to get this momentum going.
and I'm just starting to learn about the risk of deplatforming if you say certain things about super powerful people who are not necessarily convicted. A lot of it's in my book. If you guys are interested, please buy the book. It's supporting me post-incarceration by putting the story out. I'm probably the only insider right now who's actually written a book about her. So that's the other book would be the Ghislaine, Sensational and Impure. It's right behind me here.
Gotcha.
There you go. That's it. Go to my website, williamsteeleauthor.com, or on Amazon, Ghislaine, Sensational and Impure. And you'll find stuff in there that has never been put out before. And I risked my life by putting it out a few months ago. But it's there now. Part 2 is coming out after the sentence.
So they can order your books at your website as well, or should they they could just scan this code?
Right, they can scan that code and take you there. You can order either one of the books, and I'm really grateful for that. I'm trying to really pick up subscribers on my YouTube channel also, William Steele Author on YouTube. It's a true crime channel. You can Google me with Prince Andrew. My name pops up with Steele. Google me with Ghislaine Maxwell. My name will pop up. New York Post. I'm in the New York Post. I'm in the National Enquirer. I'm in the Sun from London. The Independent was about to interview me. Daily Mail TV has interviewed me. And then the war in Ukraine broke out. And so they're holding the piece back. I don't know when they're going to air it, but they did about a 2-hour interview. They flew out here a few weeks ago. They interviewed me, and that's going to air, I think, right around the sentencing. They were going to air it a few weeks ago, but then the Ukraine situation broke out.
Nice. So you're literally staying busy all the time in New York. It sounds like. Are you? You're not in New York at the very moment, though. You're working on your
I'm in,
show.
that's right. I'm in the Midwest. We filmed episodes in Elkhart, Indiana, which is the RV capital of the United States. Nice
Very
place until we
familiar.
ran into a prolific con artist. Yep. If you look up Charles Ray Smith, Elkhart, prolific con artist. He posed to me. He was a federal informant, but he posed to me as a high-ranking Hell's Angel. He's got a big mansion on the river here.
What's the name?
Millions of dollars in assets, gold bar. Charles Ray Smith, Elkhart, Indiana. And if the FBI finally locked this guy up, he's been conning people for decades. He brags with the help of the local police. I don't see any evidence of that. That's what he claims, that he's friends with detectives. And I'm certain he's naming them all now to the FBI because that's all he does is, inform and make up stuff on other people. So I'm sure he's trying to get out of his own mess now by doing that, which is fine. If his information is legitimate, cooperate with authorities by all means. But there's proof coming out now that he has put many people in prison that have been innocent.
Wow, that is
Charles Ray.
wow.
He set up Dr. Leslie Marlin Scholl. We are doing a crowdfunding for him and trying to help him, but the lawyers have said to refrain for the time being until they put their case together. I don't know. I'm not in the middle of the legal wranglings. I just want to see the man rebuild his life. He got released in December and he's really struggling. His own family and children don't talk to him anymore because they thought the murder for hire stuff was true, but that was dropped in 2009. But they still kept him in prison for 13 more years over some bogus firearms transferred to this guy, Charles Ray Smith. There was supposed to be some paperwork done that wasn't done. So they gave him 13 years, stripped him of 2 medical clinics. His wife got about $7 million. He lost about $1 million to Charles Ray Smith. And Charles Ray Smith goes about his business bragging that he killed his girlfriend because she gave his cell phone to the FBI that helped make the current case against him.
Wow.
He's bragged to many people. He has sent me pictures of her dead on the kitchen floor. He has sent me pictures of dead bodies everywhere, bragging that he's a hitman. He has bragged to me that he was retained by a celebrity in California to kill Brad Pitt. I mean, this guy's all over the map. I don't know what's true and what's not, but these are things he said. These are things that the authorities and the people around him know that he has said.
Wow. So what book is up next then? With all these stories you got going on, is one of them lead into your next book? I don't know if you're going to give anything away, but
I have one that's the working title is The William Parts, the parts of my life, sort of like life story, which is what this was going to be to begin with. My co-author, Gary Greenberg, who wrote the Beer Diet book, great book, he was the editor-in-chief of the National Enquirer. And as Durst became in the news and some of the famous people that I knew became infamous, we discussed possibly writing these smaller books about them, where really they were just going to be a chapter in my book about my life story. So that's why these books came out first. But the book about my life is coming out, a lot more detail. And don't have a title for it just yet. But then there's another one about my faith journey and what that's meant to me as far as turning my life around. And like, for example, when you do time, there's various prison ministries that come in. One that comes to mind is Kairos. And then these college courses, I was fighting to get them approved for years, and they finally got approved. So I was in Virginia doing time, and Washington Lee University came in. And all these things have made a tremendous difference in my life and attitude. You have to understand, prison administrators, for the most part, benefit nothing for somebody to turn their life around. It shoots them in the foot because recidivism, me coming back to prison, is job security for them. So there's not a lot going on trying to get college courses and people to really change. They want to just, ignore a lot of the dope coming in and let the gang members all kill each other. And turns out all the gang leaders are usually the ones telling on each other. They're the ones working closest with the feds, working closest with the prison investigators. And then they're signing up these underlings to work for them and do their dirty work while they're meeting with the investigators every time you turn around. So it's a dirty game all the way around. No one wins, and all you do is destroy people and destroy yourself in the process. And I finally came to this realization that all the loss I sustained and all the hurt I've endured and subjected my family and my kids to because of my absence, none of it was worth it in the end. I can never get those years back. I can never restore those relationships to what they should be now. And so the days of darkness has caused me to see the light, so to speak. And that's where I'm at. Those college courses meant a great deal to me. Ministries made a great deal to me coming into the prisons. I got involved volunteering with the chaplain's office, helping with these ministries. Now, people can say plenty of guys get out and they start saying they saw the light and, thank you, Jesus. But it really becomes, watch the person's track record over time. Nobody's perfect. Plenty of people can screw up again and again. Whether or not you're claiming faith or you're claiming, a higher power, whatever you're claiming, you have to make a personal decision that enough is enough is enough. And I've come to that conclusion several years ago in prison. Enough is enough. I don't want to ever go back. I don't want to ever hurt anybody again.
And William, thank you so much for sharing. Like, again, and here's one thing you said. It originally was about to start off with a book with stories in it. And I can already tell in our little time in this interview, you have a lot of stories to share. And I can tell you actually like talking about it. And that's a good thing, because that keeps you going every day, willing to do it, right? To do it because you're passionate about what you're doing. I can feel it every time you talk.
But let me be real clear, Manny. This truly is not about glorifying my past, but making the change necessary to try to never go back and to try to help people in the process. I don't want to glorify what I've been through, but if my stories can help people solve a crime, solve a murder, keep a kid out of prison, or keep a kid from trying drugs, I'm going to get up there and talk about it. I look forward to go speaking to churches and youth groups and, prosecutors groups. I volunteer to speak from law enforcement to the prosecutors, to the FBI. Anybody who'll have me, I'll be glad to share my stories to try to open their eyes, maybe educate them from the other side. This is truly not to glorify the things I've done, but I'm just on this journey of life, man. I'm trying to make these changes and make things right somehow, some way.
I thank you for sharing. And truth is, when you know what led you down that road the first time, and let me not take that road this time, that keeps you going on your right path. And I've learned that myself. It's like, okay, what got you into these problems? Okay, remember how that felt? And it's like, don't do it again by not getting into that same situation. Great. And you just literally said the same thing.
I'll tell you what, you said you were from New York, so I'm assuming we're roughly the same age. You look a little younger, but Bronx, remember Curtis Sliwa, founder of the Guardian Angels?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
I was a Guardian Angel when I was about 15 years old. I was on the right track at one point. I was one of the original, not I can't say it was the original with Curtis, but I knew him and his wife at the time, Lisa, very, very well. And now look how far he's come, where he's run for mayor of New York. And here I was in prison saying, wow, this guy, some people think he might be a little bit arrogant, but all his life he's done nothing but the right thing and try to protect people. And that's what we got involved with as young teenagers. We were patrolling subway trains, trying to, prevent people from getting hurt.
Oh, I remember.
And how the hell my life got so derailed was mostly because I started with that damn cocaine, and I regret it to this day. I wish I never touched it. I don't drink. I never smoke weed. Don't do any of that. I tried cocaine, and it was all over for me. So I tell everybody,
big learning lesson: do not try that stuff because you're gonna go down the wrong path. As someone who, my family was so much into drugs, my mom would later die of AIDS, so it's like, that's a very scary thing. And thank you for sharing that, because that's what leads down. It's like, before you know it, you're on a mission to get that. Everything, nothing else matters but getting that. My mom said that to me. I was on a mission, and, she literally, AIDS took her life. So thank you. This is what I mean. This is why your story matters, to help other people. And that's why I'm going to have to share one more time, like, my friends, like, look what he is doing. He's doing his best to, number one, stay on his right track while he helps you stay on your right track. And I love what you've done as you've continued to grow, especially with these books. I mean, great job with what you're doing, because let's be real, both of these guys are big names in online right now. Like Robert Durst, oh my gosh, especially if you're from New York, right? His whole family owned real estate out there. They were like they were like the Donald Trump, basically.
They still manage the World Trade Center complex and probably 20 or 30% of New York City real estate. They're still worth billions of dollars. And they won't simply settle with the victims' families. They want this to blow up in the media again and again and again. Why? I don't know. I have to be careful what I say, but there's allegations that they've repeatedly enabled and concealed his crimes, including the murder of Kathy Durst, his first wife. And it's just disgraceful what they're allowing the family members of the victims to go through in Kathy's family.
Wow. And that's where she's now what? She's someone that you're fighting for.
She's the focus of my first book, really, Sex and the Serial Killer, is really focused on her, raising awareness that he's never been convicted of her murder. Like I said, he was indicted a few months ago, but that was after he was convicted in Los Angeles, finally, of killing Susan Berman, and then he died of COVID right after they sent him to prison. So, you know, there's no justice for the family 40 years later, and many other victims. There's a college student in Vermont, and there's other victims around the country. So he was a very wealthy, probably worth $100 million at the time of his death, serial killer. He was a sexual sadist serial killer. Wow. He killed witnesses and victims, people that were going to be witnesses against him, like Susan and his wife even. But he's also was a sexual sadist killer. So, you know, if you read the book, you'll see some of the stuff I wrote about and stuff he brought around my house in New York. And here's the thing. I'm not the only one that knows these things. I'm the only one crazy enough to come forward and talk about them. Okay. I've had a certain agency try to shut me down it's in the book, by reading me my Miranda rights over the Susan Berman murder. And I said, wait a minute, I had somebody else have you come out here. And the only way they would come out is because somebody from the Durst organization asked them to see me. But then they tried to shut me down by intimidating me. And I said, well, why would you suspect I did it when I was in jail in Miami at the time of her murder? So this is a reason why we decided to write books. Can you see me still?
Yeah, I think you might be getting a call in or something.
Yeah, I don't know how to cancel that.
All right, we'll give it just a second. Man, like, you're literally sharing so much great information, and I can tell, like, I look forward to that next book. Like, all right, now what's he gonna come up with next? Because he's truly you have so much information, and I can tell, like, you know, let me be careful what I say here, because that could, you don't want anyone, you know, you don't want to get yourself in trouble, but you want to spread the truth the best you can, and you're doing a great job.
I'm not worried about any trouble as far as charges. You know, everything's many, many years ago, and I did nothing that I could still be charged with. There's no violence, there's no murders on my part. What people are concerned about coming forward now is these people you're coming forward against are very powerful. They can have people killed, and certain people have turned up dead. They can sue you out of existence, you know, to try to cover up, you know, what I know, what other people know. So these are the concerns anybody coming forward has right now. So I'm thinking that my spotlight, you only have very few people coming forward. And some of the victims of Maxwell and Epstein, to me, are inspiration for me that they came forward. You know, some of the female victims.
Yes. Well said there. Well said. My friend, thank you so much for jumping on with us today and doing this interview and sharing such great information. And thank you for sharing your faith, because that's where it's like, when God changes your heart, you're ready to be changed. Like, it doesn't happen till then. Otherwise, this is part of the journey. This is your story. This is what's going to help you bounce back to help more people. Great job. You're doing an amazing job. My friends, please check out his book. You can find all the links to William Steele down in the description of this video. Now, I want to share, I noticed later on, because again, the interview part on this channel is a little new. So we were perfectly live the whole Facebook time, but I noticed YouTube, I didn't get that on till later at the right time. So I will take the Facebook video and put it on the YouTube. That way the whole interview's on YouTube as well. And I'll continue to promote it because your word needs more reach. More eyeballs should learn about William Steele, the author who is truly helping people. Here is what you should know. Here's how we can help. And how can you help? If someone else feels like they're a victim and they want to get their story, do you help in that case as well?
Right. We're starting a straightforward interview program podcast. And again, we want to interview people. Please reach out to us through my website and any way you can, through my Facebook, especially William Steele author. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. We're looking for people to interview or dealing with a cold case murder. You don't feel you're getting justice. We'd love to have the family members of the victims on, but we'll also be trying to invite law enforcement on or investigators if they're willing to speak about the status of a certain case. We realize there's many things they can't divulge and not allowed to divulge, but if they can maybe give the public a little more understanding about why things are not resolved. Many of these cases we're helping with are on the internet, but please contact us again. Let us know your story. If you have a missing person, missing child, cold case homicide in your family, or if you've been wrongfully family member that's truly innocent and sitting in prison, there's no justice in that. A prosecutor's job is to seek justice, not simply notch convictions. And that's I think from the Supreme Court. You know, they have a difficult job to do to figure out, everybody's in prison, they're innocent. Well, not me. I was guilty. I was guilty as hell. And then I escaped from prison and made it worse. And then I ended up on America's Most Wanted website. So I did what I did, but these are many, many years in my past. But there's so many innocent people I've run across in prison, it's ridiculous. And it's glaring. It's in the paperwork. It's not just in their stories. But they're illiterate, many of them. They don't know how to get help. And the innocent projects around the country can only have the resources and time to help people on death row or life sentences for the most part. So all the minor cases slip through the cracks. But there's so many innocent people in prison. The system needs to be reworked somehow. So one of my books coming out is going to be also about suggestions for criminal justice reform. My observations as a former prisoner and law clerk.
Wow. You'll be starting your own 60 Days In.
Watch my TV show, August.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I look forward to having you on again because as our audience continues to grow, we want to bring on great guests as yourself to keep that word out there. How can we stay safe in our worlds? And you shared some great information, some of your experiences, some of the big criminals that you have been around and what you're noticing. So thank you so much for joining us today and being a part of this, William. Any last parting words?
I just want to remind everybody that's all that's needed for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. So please contact us. We will help you get your story out. My fiance, Dr. Mary Bass, has a heart of gold. She's a zealous victim advocate, and she's been retaliated on before for her work. And we just look forward to helping people now and trying to rebuild my life post-incarceration by doing the right thing instead of the wrong thing.
Great. Thank you so much. And we look forward to having you on again. I'm sure you will be a guest as we continue to have more guests on. And thank you for taking your time out to be here with us. And we hope that every dream you're reaching for, you accomplish. You've overcame a lot. Your story's amazing. Keep doing what you're doing, William, because people need your help. Even those you don't even know yet, they need your help, William.
Thank you, Manny. Thank you for the encouragement. I appreciate it. It means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Have a great one. My friends, there you have it. He kicked butt. He was really sharing a lot, and you can tell he came from his heart. If that's the type of stuff you like to follow, make sure you smash that subscribe button. And if you got some value, make sure you hit that like button because then more people will see it. And truth is, more people need to hear this story. It's an amazing story. My friends, I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have an amazing day. Peace Have a great one.